Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for the introduction. And today, we're going to talk about AI and ROI in the content supply chain and how the content supply chain can help you enable personalization at scale. A little bit of background on myself. I've been in the marketing technology space now for 15 years. Been there, done it, learned the lessons. So hopefully I can transmit some information that you'll find valuable today. I've also led some major transformation projects at New York investment management firms and different firms across Europe, particularly around content supply chain and personalization. And also recently won Best Speaker for a talk similar to this at the Adobe Summit, something I'm proud of. It's nervous getting up here on stage talking in front of everyone, so to get an award and a little bit of kudos is always beneficial. So now moving into how the technology market has changed. And if I was here 5 years ago, I'd probably be telling you a slightly different approach. 5 years ago, we used to talk a lot about marketing automation being the centerpiece of a technology stack and all your engagement flowing in there. Email was a major channel back in the day, and segmentation was normally done from single platforms, not using combined data sets. But the market has changed a lot and the challenges have changed. I'm sure we all recognize that the last few years has been very different from 5 years ago. And what we're seeing in the market is, first of all, headcount and budget cuts. So people are being asked to do more with less. It doesn't even make sense when you say it. How can we actually achieve this? We're also being put under pressure to produce personalized content. McKinsey is saying 71% of consumers expect the personalized experience. I do as a consumer, and sometimes I feel disappointed when I get more generic communications. Also, we're seeing a lot of dollars and pounds wasted. Assets and content that's actually never going to market and being used. I've seen this myself at organizations I've worked in, or even worse than that, purchasing technology platforms that are never integrated with the wider ecosystem, never fully utilized, and we don't maximize the capabilities of those tools and platforms. So how can we help solve these challenges? And one of the solutions that I've seen work well that I want to share with you today is the content supply chain. And it's basically the same set of technology we've always used, just using it in a slightly different way. And the content supply chain is the end-to-end process for creating, managing, distributing, and monetizing content across various platforms. We can also use the content supply chain to support personalization. If we can produce content faster to a high quality, we can then start to look at different variations of that content to create personalized journeys. It's also important to note that any technology tools can be used to configure a content supply chain. Don't look at your stack and think, hang on, we can't do this, we're going to have to change everything. That's not the case. Don't worry too much about technology. As long as you've got the component parts and technology that can work well together, you can configure a content supply chain with many different variations. You can have a one vendor solution, or you can have an agnostic solution where you see something like a HubSpot working with a Salesforce and maybe a set of Adobe products. The story I'm going to lean into today, though, they did have a one vendor stack. They had marketing automation, a tool called Marketo that was used for emails, webinars, events, lead management, personalization, pushing insights to the sales team. On the right-hand side, they had digital asset management and a client-facing website. So the digital asset management is used to store your content, tag it with metadata so it can be reused and people can search for it, as well as expiry date management. If you're in a regulated industry like pharmaceuticals or financial services, that content is only going to last for a period of time, so you can tag it with dates and it can be automatically decommissioned, so you're not going to publish that content and get yourself in any trouble. The client website is there to obviously push that content out to our audience and allow them to interact with it. And then the engine in the middle is a work management tool. So this example is Workfront. You've also got tools like Monday.com, Jira. So again, the technology is less important. It's more obviously the purpose and the use case. And what we're using Workfront for is to manage our content intake requests at scale. So what we don't want to be doing is, people shouldn't be sending emails and the brief comes on a spreadsheet attached to an email. That's going to be risky. Things are going to go wrong. The audit trail is going to be difficult to unpick. So having a proper system where the request comes in, projects created, and the team start to work through that to produce that content in an automated way. We can also use these tools to manage marketing projects. If you're doing an integration or a transformation, it can be managed within these types of tools as well. And something else that I did was I found it very difficult working in marketing operations, receiving requests from teams, from email, lots of different directions. So I created a ticketing system within Workfront as well, and you can do this in the other tools. So people would put those requests in one place, I'd have a morning huddle with the team, and I'd distribute those tasks out so they were done efficiently and effectively. So where do we need to focus to solve, today's challenges? And like I said, it's a different set of challenges than before. So the big focus is on productivity improvements. We got less headcount, less budget. We have to increase, productivity and efficiency, particularly if we want to deliver personalization, because we know we're going to require more content to do that. Obviously, revenue growth is always a focus, pays the bills, keeps the lights on. So we have to obviously keep a close eye on revenue and performance. But another big focus area is employee impact. Everyone is under a ton of stress these days within their work, within their personal life. So it's really important that we look after our employees. We enable them and give them the right skills to perform, the job that we want them to do. And then also an integrated technology stack. It's so important today to have connected data. There's no point buying world-class technology and having it siloed. Let's bring technology together, and you're going to see true value from it. It'll allow you to do things like, hyper segmentation, personalization, which ultimately is going to bring you the results that you're looking for. So what are the core levers to achieving a successful rollout of a content supply chain? So it all starts with the methodology. You would have all seen something like this before, but it's so important to follow a set methodology. Design, deliver, adopt, grow is the one I always lean towards. Design is not just looking at the design and the workflows for content creation and technology integrations, but it's also looking at designing an adoption and change package for your people, something that's often forgotten, but so important to do during the early stages of any project or transformation. The deliver for me is the easy part, actually implementing it and integrating. There's lots of great skills in the market, agencies, teams, people that you can lean towards to help you, set up this type of ecosystem. Adoption, this is your training, your support, helping your people understand the new process and making sure the business is ready to go. And then grow, a stage that's often forgotten. Again, it's really important that, if you do a transformation or make a major change within your business, that you stay with it and look at optimization and improvements. It's not going to be 100% perfect. Remember that, that's not failure. So it is key to make some small tweaks and changes as you start to roll things out. Focusing in on workflow, if you are looking at automating content processes for personalization through a content supply chain, you have to map out those processes first. It's key that you take the time to do that. Also the responsibilities, who's going to look after the email channel, who's going to look after the social channel, who's going to look after web pages, making sure that you've got a RACI and everybody knows the role that they're going to play. And then obviously integrating those workflows, and then like I said, continuous improvement and optimization. In terms of data, there's some key things here that I think businesses often forget, and this is where they can go wrong. It's really important to align your data model across multiple technology tools. Time and time again, I see a business buy a particular piece of technology and they'll set it up without considering the wider ecosystem and not mapping it to the taxonomy that they've got in the CRM or the marketing automation system. And then later down the line, they'll wonder why it's difficult to integrate. You've got to do that right from the start. Align your different data points. And the things that you should think about is, segmentation. What type of data points are needed for segmentation? What type of data do I want to bring together to help me perform, hyper segmentation? And also, what segmentation should be used for, what data points should be used for reporting. Again, we've got to think about that from the very start, otherwise we're not going to be able to produce the reports that we want at the end of the project. So let's make sure those data points are exposed to the right systems so we can produce the reports that our stakeholders need to make the right decisions. And then people, for me, this is the most important slide in the whole presentation. I think it's really important if you're going to embark on any change within the business to have a healthy culture. If you've not got that right, the chances of success, instantly, down by a number of percentage points. It's really important to also understand the benefits to your people. Often I hear businesses say, hey, we're making this change, it's going to make us, $100 million. How does that impact the people on the ground? What I've seen happen when you do transmit that type of message, everyone starts asking for a pay rise. Well, I want more money then if we're making more money. So instead, what I like to do is, get the team together, let's go out for a dinner, talk about the change, get everyone excited about it, and then look at one-to-one sessions with each of the individuals. What's in it for them? Skill acquisition, learning new things, career growth, really showing them the pathway that they're going to, go on during this journey and how it's going to help them as individuals. I've found that helps get everyone on board with the change. And then obviously when you kick off the project, people are excited about it rather than pushing back and making it challenging for everybody. It's also important as well to invest in professional training and support. Again, I've seen companies spend hundreds of thousands on a new technology tool or a change that they're making, and then they buy the smallest, cheapest, training package to go with it. Come on, we need to invest in our people. We need to, an offsite for a week or two where they can really understand these tools and get to grips. It'll pay off long term. These tools will have a greater impact on the business if people know how to use them efficiently and effectively. Listening and improvement sessions, I always think that the people in your team know better than you do. So listen to them, what do they see working, what's not working, how can we make the changes that they think are going to make, a greater impact, particularly around optimization. And then reward and praise. When I was younger, there was nothing better than getting the praise myself and inflating my own ego. But as I've matured, there's nothing better than pushing that praise down into the team, and seeing individuals grow and their confidence grow and, their careers grow. So, really think about how you can highlight people that are doing great work within the team, during these challenging projects. And then, gone a bit quick. And then what does the architecture look like for content supply chain? And I'm going to talk you through a little bit of a story of how it all works as well. So this is a sort of architectural drawing of a content supply chain. What you can see is underpinning everything is a data warehouse on the bottom of data lake, which is capturing all the information from all the different tools within our ecosystem. On the left-hand side, we've got CRM, CDP, and analytical tools helping us with data insights and activation and helping us understand our audience and segmentation better. The centerpiece here is our work management tool. And this is where our content requests are flowing into in order for us to create content efficiently and effectively. We've also got plugged in image and video creation. That's so important in today's world. It's not just about text. We need to have, visuals within our marketing as well. So we've got creative products, Frame.io, pushing in video content to be approved. We've then got automation and integration. So everything is obviously pushed into our customer journey platforms to be executed and sent out to our audience. And then we actually use the same set of tools at the end that we started with to analyze performance, looking at the single customer view and different behaviors, as well as looking at journey and campaign and channel analytics. So to talk you through how it all works, let's just take a campaign that we want to obviously push across maybe 3 or 4 channels. It all starts with an ideation meeting. So we get together with the team, we decide what the campaign's going to be, we look at the different audiences we've got available, and then obviously we've got a framework for what we want to then deliver. And this could be obviously documented within the work management tool as well. The next stage is the target audience definition. So we know what we're going to do in terms of a campaign. Now let's analyze the different, transactional data, behavioral data, firmographics, demographics from the different tools, and let's build an audience segment that we think is perfect for this particular campaign. Once we've got the campaign audience selected, The next piece is the content that we need to create. So then we put the requests in for maybe an email, a social post, and a video that we want to create to support this, personalized multi-channel campaign. So those requests go into the system. And then what happens next is we allocate resource, and the team then starts to work through those requests. So one request has gone to the marketing automation team, one to the social team, one to our graphics team, obviously to produce the video content that we require. Once the content is ready and it's produced and everyone's worked through the tasks that we've pushed in their direction, the next piece is we want to make sure it's approved and ready and meets our industry standards. Now, there's a number of different ways you can do this. There are AI tools now on the market, like RedMarker, that can help you, check content. Is it on brand? Are the disclaimers correct? Are the warnings correct? But there's also proofing tools as well, like Workfront Proof, ProofHQ, iFlow, that you can actually have people assess a piece of content and make sure that it's correct, make particular comments and amendments before it goes live. So if you're in a regulated industry, it's so important to have, a content approval step that's efficient and effective. The next piece of the puzzle, and this is where the magic happens, is, in my opinion, we shouldn't have people copy and pasting, uploading and downloading in today's world. This is where AI and automation can play a big part. Hear people say things like, oh, AI will take away people's jobs. No, it's going to make people's jobs more enjoyable. These are the tasks that people don't want to do. It's not added value. It's not great work if you're sitting there every day copying text from one system into an email template or copying text into a social platform. So let's take away these mundane tasks, make the whole operation more effective, and use integrations to push content from one system to another. Once the content is delivered to our customer journey tools, so we've got marketing automation, the email content's been automatically built through the APIs, the email is ready to go. We've got our social post ready to go. Our video's been delivered to the digital asset management tool, ready to publish on the website. Now we let the teams, loose, and they obviously push that content out to our audience, and our campaign is live. The next piece of the puzzle, and again, this is an area that I find that businesses often neglect, is reviewing performance, understanding what worked, what didn't work, looking at it from a holistic view across the channels and across the whole entire customer journey, but also looking at it from the single customer view and looking how different people are engaging with our content. And then, different forms of AI and how they are applied, to sales and marketing. We hear a lot of people talking about generative AI. That seems to be the buzzword at the moment. But there's different types of AI as well as, automation AI, predictive AI, and these can be used across a sales and marketing ecosystem in many different ways. Some examples of that. So automation, like we said, we can automate our content creation and workflows. We can look at scheduling content using AI. So a tool called Octopost can tell you, the best time to attack your audience, and it's constantly analyzing the market for you. So you don't need to make those decisions anymore. We've got predictive AI that can help us with sales forecasting or forecasting churn. And we've also got generative AI, which we're all very familiar with, and that can help us create imagery and content, or maybe a piece of introductory text for, a piece of thought leadership that we want to push out to the market. And then the performance gains. So, this particular customer story, heavy investment in automation and, personalization. Team size had been reduced, budget's been cut. So, what were the results? Did we see the performance gains that we expected? So, we saw open rates up around 25%. Now, if you know about open rates, particularly in financial services, that's pretty good. 19% was the benchmark that we had, so we were punching above that. We increased our click rate by 2 percentage points. Again, standard click rate is something like 3 to 5%. So to get it up by 2 percentage points, big success. Huge increase to website visits, 142%. And the best of all, we've seen better conversion between marketing and sales, from 10% up to 36%. That was MQL sent over that converted to a sales meeting. Then looking at some of the other performance gains, so the productivity improvements. So on the left-hand side, you've got your email channel, your web channel, and your social channel. The purple bar is the before, and the pink bar is the after. And you can see clearly that through automation, we've massively increased, the efficiency of those channels. And in times where the market is rapidly changing, we need to be able to get content out efficiently. We just had an election, we've got a US election coming up. The market is going to pivot and change, and we may have to change the direction of our content strategies to support that. So having a system that can deliver content, with that agility, is going to help us out. On the right-hand side, you can see the stack bar chart combining all the channels and showing the total time saving. So the total time saving is 12,000 hours a year for this particular customer. That's huge. It's basically freeing up 2.5 people's time to do more added value tasks and help drive the business forward. And then a slightly different look and feel to the performance gains. So first of all, it's really important to note that this particular story was based on the production of 1,600 assets a year across email, social, and web pages. I've been speaking to businesses that have got double that in their production line. So, imagine the gains that you could have if you're producing, 2,000-3,000, assets a year. What we saw is huge time saving across each asset, total time saving of 12,000 hours or just under. The average hourly rate in the team was $22.97. That was a blend of resource across EMEA, North America, and we had some offshore teams over in Pune who were amazing. The total cost saving was £273,000. That is roughly the cost of the transformation project. So the money was returned in year one. Unfortunately, the money didn't go straight on the bottom line, or I'm sure there'd be a queue out the door today to start projects like this. But what it does do, it's actually lowering your cost base and therefore widening the margin for ROI. And of course, if we're hitting, the numbers that we're seeing in terms of sales conversions, hopefully, the revenue's creeping up at the same time as well. And then some of the benefits that we've seen. So, first of all, employee benefits, happy stakeholders, performance is increasing right across the board, boosted morale for employees. I find that, modernizing technology, improving processes, people enjoy coming to work every day. I always use the Uber app as an example. It's an amazing process. We don't even feel like we're using a process when we're booking a taxi these days. It's slick and easy to use. And if you can create processes like that in your business, you'll notice that people learn quicker when they're enjoying doing their job day to day. We obviously increased engagement, increased the conversion for the sales team. We also strengthened the relationship between sales and marketing, which is so important in today's world. Amount of times I've heard people say, sales team are difficult to work with and, we don't see eye to eye. It's really important to try and build that relationship. And then we also lowered the cost base. And then in terms of productivity, we saved, 12,000 hours and we increased our efficiency and execution by 59%. And then obviously we saved a bunch of time. What do we want to do with that time? And it's really important to have a plan for that as well, to make sure that we can actually make use of that free time and obviously drive, the business forward with different initiatives. We looked at AI search. It's a great use case, really safe use case as well, because you're basically putting AI on one of your internal servers or digital asset management platforms to allow you to search for content. Of course, metadata is helpful, but we all know that sometimes people don't put the right tags on things, or it's difficult to identify different pieces of content from metadata. So things you can do with the AI searches, you can say, show me all the images with people with smiley faces, and it would bring them all to the forefront for maybe a Christmas campaign or seasonal campaign that you want to do. We implemented lead management across all the markets, to help out with that sales and marketing relationship and increase conversion. And also we spent more time learning about our customers and their behavior, A/B testing, personalization, documenting the results, and then applying that to future campaigns. And then the key takeaways. So, like we said during the presentation, for me, most important part of any transformation is focus on your people and culture. If you can get people on board, you can attack any project and it can be successful. So, really make sure that you spend the time with your team to let them know the benefits to them as individuals. Take time to understand your workflows. Somebody once said to me, if a process does not work outside of technology, it won't work inside the technology either. So it's really important that we get our processes right from the start, and then the technology can help make those processes more efficient and effective. And then also selecting the right technology. Time and time again, I speak to stakeholders and they've had a technology stack that's never been connected, for 5, 10 years. We've got to start to solve these problems. And if you select the right technology, you can bring technology together within, a 6-month period. There's platforms out there, marketing automation, Marketo, Eloqua, HubSpot, Salesforce, Octopus for social, On24 for webinar, Salesforce or Dynamics for CRM, Adobe for the website maybe. All of these tools have native integrations. You could bring a technology stack like that together within 6 to 8 months. But if you choose technology that is not compatible, that requires custom integrations and heavy coding, you could be looking at 5, 10 years before you bring that technology together. So take the time to assess technology. Does it fit with our wider ecosystem? Can we connect it to the different technology tools that we already have? And thank you very much for your time. It's been a pleasure. And if anyone's got any questions, happy to take 1 or 2 up here on the stage. Or, if you want to chat with me afterwards and ask questions, I'll be around all day. I'm happy to spend a little bit of time with each and every one of you. Thank you very much.